On a freezing winter night, a little girl in a red coat spotted two helpless puppies shivering in the snow, their tiny bodies trembling and their soft whimpers piercing the icy silence. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she pressed her hands together, silently begging the universe to help them. No one else was around, no one else cared, but she couldn't walk away. She knew her parents would never approve, yet the thought of leaving them to die was unbearable. Against all odds, she made a choice that would change everything. She scooped the freezing puppies into her arms, their bodies stiff with cold, and tucked them beneath her coat as she hurried home through the falling snow. Wrapped in blankets, she prayed they'd survive the night, believing she had saved their lives. But what she didn't know was that these weren't ordinary strays. At sunrise, flashing police lights painted her street blue and red, surrounding her house. Sirens echoed in the distance as officers rushed to the door. Why were they here? And what secret were the freezing puppies carrying? The answer would shock everyone. Quietly, she slipped around the side of the house and used the back door. With a trembling hand, she turned the knob slowly until it clicked open, then slid inside, cradling the puppies tightly against her chest. Every step up the stairs felt louder than she wished, each creak echoing like a secret she wasn't supposed to keep. Her room was small but warm, a safe haven compared to the frozen night outside. Gently, she laid the puppies on her bed, wrapping them in an old quilt as their whimpers softened and their tiny tails twitched beneath the fabric. She brought a bowl of warm milk she had secretly heated, guiding their tiny mouths to sip. Watching them drink, her fear eased just a little. Kneeling beside them, she whispered softly, "You're safe now. No one will hurt you." As the puppies drifted into an exhausted sleep, she pressed her palms together and prayed they would survive until morning. When dawn crept through the curtains, pale light brushed across her face. She rubbed her sleepy eyes and turned toward the bed, where the two puppies lay curled beneath the quilt, their tiny chests rising and falling gently. And for the first time all night, she smiled with relief. Against all odds, the puppies had survived the night. Relief filled the little girl's chest, until a strange sound shattered the calm. It wasn't birdsong or the crunch of snow outside. It was barking, loud, sharp, powerful. Her eyes snapped open, heart hammering in her chest. These weren't the weak whimpers of her tiny rescues. These were deep, commanding barks, the kind that made the ground tremble. Within seconds, sirens sliced through the morning air, red and blue lights flashing wildly against her bedroom walls. Confused voices shouted outside, mingling with the barking of trained police dogs. The girl scrambled to the window, breath fogging the glass, and froze. Police cars surrounded the house, their lights spinning across the white snow as neighbors gathered at their fences, whispering in disbelief. Her parents burst into the room, panic written across their faces. "What on earth is happening?" her mother gasped. But before anyone could answer, a heavy knock thundered at the door, firm, demanding, impossible to ignore. The girl clutched the trembling puppies to her chest, her pulse racing. A cold dread crept up her spine. Somehow, she knew this wasn't about rescuing strays anymore. Whatever secret those little creatures carried was about to change everything. The front door creaked open, letting in a gust of icy air and the stern presence of uniformed officers. Their boots thudded heavily across the wooden floor, eyes sharp and scanning every corner. A tall officer with a square jaw stepped forward, his expression unreadable. "We're looking for two missing K9 puppies," he announced firmly. "They were stolen from a training facility last night. We tracked their trail here." The girl's parents exchanged stunned glances. "Stolen? That can't be right," her father stammered. We don't know anything about that." Before they could say more, the little girl stepped out from behind them, clutching the shivering puppies tightly to her chest, tears glistening in her wide eyes. "I didn't steal them," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I found them outside in the snow. They were freezing. I just wanted to help." Silence filled the room. The officers looked at one another, their suspicion thick in the air. Then the tall officer's gaze softened. He knelt down, his voice calm but steady. You're saying you found them alone? She nodded quickly, her cheeks wet with tears. Please don't take them away. They needed me. The man studied her face, then the tiny, trembling pups in her arms. Something in her eyes, pure, frightened honesty, made him pause. Rising slowly, he turned to his team. This child might be telling the truth, he said quietly. And if she is, then these puppies weren't just lost. Someone wanted them gone. The weight of his words hung heavy in the still air. Her parents stood frozen, still struggling to understand, while the little girl clung to the puppies as if letting go would mean breaking her heart. Another officer entered from outside, snowflakes clinging to his jacket. We checked the tracks, he reported, flipping open his notepad. They lead straight from the woods to the house. Looks like the girl's story checks out. The pups must have been abandoned out there. The tall officer exhaled, his sternness finally melting away. He crouched once more, meeting the girl's tearful gaze. You didn't steal them, he said softly. You saved them. The girl blinked, barely believing what she'd heard. For a moment, the fear that had clung to her all morning melted into pure relief. Her parents exhaled deeply, shoulders lowering as they realized their daughter's courage had kept 2 lives from freezing to death. But then the officer added something that made her heart swell even more. What you did was brave, he said, glancing at the pups nestled safely against her chest. If it weren't for you, they wouldn't be alive right now. You didn't just rescue them. You may have saved the future of our K9 unit. By the next afternoon, news of the little girl and the freezing puppies spread through the town like wildfire. Neighbors who had once whispered behind fences now looked at her with admiration. The police chief himself arrived, stepping out of his car with a solemn smile and a framed certificate of bravery in his hands. Kneeling before her, he said softly, "Sometimes, heroes come in the smallest packages. Without your courage, these puppies wouldn't be alive today." Her cheeks flushed pink as he handed her the certificate, and her parents stood proudly behind her, eyes glistening with pride. Later, the officers invited her to visit the K9 training facility where the puppies would grow and serve. One of them, a playful little one with floppy ears, refused to leave her side, nuzzling against her hand as if it had already chosen her as its person. The girl laughed, her earlier fear replaced by pure joy. As the golden sun dipped behind the snowy hills, she knelt beside them and whispered softly, "I didn't just save you. You saved me too that night. I thought I saved you," the little girl whispered, her voice trembling with warmth as the puppies nestled beside her. "But maybe, you saved me too." And for everyone who heard her story, it became a timeless reminder that even the smallest act of kindness can change the world, sometimes in ways we never expect.